Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Sam, and I am a business intelligence developer. Well, I was just working towards one of my projects, and recently I gave a conversation or a conference, and I came across a very sweet spot which we called as the historic data analysis, which is basically this particular button. Now, from people's perspective, this button has of no use. But according to my perspective or my perspective, this one single on and off renders quite a different perspective when you use the API for streaming dataset. Now, I need an application to demonstrate my claim, and for that, uh, I have taken the ocean pollution as my project, and this particular time I am actually going to record the live or going to automate or populate the data inside the Power BI service using Microsoft Flow, and I will uh, demonstrate that how can this pollution has made a lot of problems. So, as you know, that the pollution is coming up to be the biggest challenge into the entire universe. Now, this is quite an alarming situation, and we need to give a message. Otherwise, it will be not so much long when our children will face the same extremism as we did. So the biggest problem when it happens is when it actually comes from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. That means the pollution starts from the Canadian states to the west coast of the United States, then Mexico, Nicaragua, Ecuador, Peru, and Chile, and this whole thing just floats down to here, and it just comes down to this part of the area, and because of this entire problem of this plastic pollution, it gets quite messy, that I have just seen or we have just seen in this particular part of the slide. So I have this particular data set. So let me just work in real time. Therefore, I have this particular data set with me that is sitting right here, which is this particular part, and I will upload it into Power BI. And this particular data set I will upload in Power BI service, and from there we'll check upon the historic data analysis. So let me just minimize it and bring Power BI service online. All right, so I have this get data, and before that I would love to take that data and put into the OneDrive. So I'll go to my OneDrive, and once I'm in my OneDrive, I will open it up, and I'll take in a specific folder. So I will take the folder as VPIIG. I take this copy and I put this into my folder here. Look at this time that it is getting refreshed and it's been accepted. Fine. So now I'll go to my Power BI service and get data, and it says me gives me this, and once it comes here it gives me the CDS into 5 different versions. I'm not in a support of paying money, and I'm using it for free, so I'll take OneDrive Personal, and once I log in with my credentials, it can allow me to take the data from the CDS. So once it does, it comes from here, and it takes from here, and I just connect it. Once I'm getting connected, it will transform all the data zoop into the particular part, which you can see from the data sets, the countrywide pollution. But this is just 20% of job done. So let me just go to my workspace, and it says countrywide pollution. I have to make a schedule refresh. That is the most important part, this particular part. So I'll press the schedule refresh to check my credentials. My OneDrive credentials are fine. The refresh button is on, and I'm good to go for my workspace. And then I am going to design the API. And for that, I need to go to the create particular part. And once I'm in the create, I have to open this create and the streaming dataset. So once I am in the streaming dataset mode, it is asking me three different sets: API, Azure Stream, PubDub. You need to pay for these services. But this particular one is completely free, and I am going to use this one. So I will take this next, and they're asking me what kind of name you want to give this data set so that they can trace you when you automate using Microsoft Flow. So what do you want to do in this data set? I will take it as a RTD, real-time data set for country. And then it's asking the value name. And for that, I need to open my data to get a glimpse of it. All right, or better, I can go to my slide. So my data is date. I can use the date time, and then I can use the product, which it will be, I can text quantity. I can use it as the number, and then I'll take the country, which is the text, and then the pollution number, which I can take as the number as well. All right, and then comes our historic data analysis. Look at this. It is always comes as an off at the beginning, but it's our job that we need to use it as per our use. So back to our main discussion, that what is the significance? What is the significance for this historic data analysis button? And for this, let me just show you the first. If the historic data analysis is off, it can hold on to the memory for at least an hour. That means if it is just an off and I just press it create, notice that there is no report sign in the Power BI Designer. That means there is no report sign in this Power BI Designer. That means whatever I have written in here, it will hold off, the data will hold off for at least an hour. So this is the first one. The second one, it puts Azure SQL database behind your data set without even pre-subscribed version of Azure Analysis. That means once you create this on, it immediately puts the Azure SQL database behind your data set. How can you know? Because it creates the streaming data set and the report designer. Now you can see it's a very much same API. All right. So let me just take this thing and design the report from here. And I take the country as my part, and I'll put this down in here, a little bit wide, fine. Then I'll take my table such as the date, pollution number, product, and the quantity, and a little bit stretch it up. Then I'll take the pollution number and the quantity as my two other number. I'll take this and I'll take this. All right. So my basic report is being designed properly. A little bit I stretch this up, or I can. All right, and a little bit more further. Fine. So I can save this report. I'll put save as. I'll save this as a RTD country, and I save this. So now if I go to my workspace and I have the reports, I can check my report from here. So I will just simply press in here and I can see my report, all blanks up in here. But the question comes about the historic data analysis, and that's why I'm here for. So the historic data analysis at this time is on. That means everything is going on perfectly. The third significance for the historic data analysis is if you turn off it, it will not show in the Power BI report designer. You need to hard refresh it to get to understand. What do I mean by that? If I take this part and I turn it off and I press it done, it will not show. You have to make a hard refresh. So once you do this, you cannot see the report designer. So you just again have to press it here, analysis done, and it will make a hard refresh again. But notice this time the report will not be shown even if you refresh, because we have already deleted that part. So this is given up all in here. All right. Now let's automate the process. So I'll take the Microsoft Flow, and in Microsoft Flow, what I'll do is I will go to my flows. I will create from the blank. I'll create from blank. I'll create from blank. And once I do that, I'll take the schedule as my recurrence. I take my schedule as my recurrence. 3 minutes is the specific time I allotted to it. Then I will use Excel, and I will take the two parts, business or OneDrive. Business is particularly for the where you are using for the money, or you have premium version or OneDrive paid version, and this is the free one, Excel Online. So I'll take the free, and once I press it, it's asking me what kind of operations I would love to do. So I'll take get arrow. So once I'm here, it's asking me that which file you want to browse. So I will definitely want to browse the file that I've used, it VPIEG, countrywide pollution. Then select a table. I will use a table as C's. Then select a column, and I will use the column as country. And this is asking the key value. So my column, which I have taken from here, if I just minimize it, I will use, if I go just back, I will use the country as Malaysia, for example. So if I just go here and I press it Malaysia, then it's asking me the news tab. So if I take the news tab, and this time I'll use the Power BI. Now remember, Power BI has just one button, and it has only add rows to dataset. So I will simply use the workspace, my workspace, the unique identifier, RTD country, the name of the table, real-time data. Yeah. Yeah. And then the date, I will just use the expression as UTC now. For example, if anyone wants to report to me, so UTC now, okay. And then the product, I will take as the product like this. And the quantity, I will take the quantity as like this. And similarly, the country to be like this. And the pollution number, I'll take it like this. And now what I'll do is I'll save my report. And once I do it, I can save it with this particular part, but I can change this one, and I can write down the significance of historic data analysis, HDA. All right, as well as I can rename these steps. So I will take this step as fetching a row for analysis, and similarly for this thing, add rows to data set, I will take this thing and I'll write that data in a table, and with this I will save it, and therefore I will test it, and I'll perform the trigger action and the save and test, and once it does, it runs the flow, and I can see the flow running activity, and therefore my flow is actually succeeded. But how how can I visualize? I can visualize once I make a hard refresh, and you can see that all the data starts coming up in, and Malaysia is actually getting popped up in here. Now, the back to our quest, that if you turn it off, it will not show in the report designer, which I've actually showed you. The fourth one is that if you turn off and turn back on again, all the data gets flushed and new data gets loaded into the database. What do I mean by that? That's a very good question. That means I have to show you through this that if now, as you can see, if I again make a hard refresh, I will get the report because my flow is on and the data is keep pushing it through it. All right. So if I go here and I open up this streaming dataset, RTD country, and I open this API and I just turn it off, it's done, and I hard refresh it. So you can see that is no more in there. And simultaneously, if I hard refresh it, it will show me as a blank. Yay! And once it shows a blank, that means all the data which was present inside has been flushed down and it is ready to take any new data. So suppose if you have a new data set that is waiting for you up in here and you want to upload it into the same data set. So you suppose take this and you just copy it. And you actually kinda use this your main data set and you you just paste up in here, and I suppose use India, just a default. I'll first put India as most of the cases, and I save this report, and I take this and paste it in here. It just takes some time to get refreshed. All right, yeah. And this time, what I will do that I will go to my API once again, and I will take it on and done, and I hard refresh it. Once it does, I do not have to run the flow. My flow is already running. As you can see, if I make a hard refresh up in here. But notice this time, if I hard refresh it, after the open of this history data analysis, all the data gets populated in. Only if I run my flow again. So I go to my flow and I resubmit it. Okay. My flow is running. It succeeded. But how can I get to know? It's once I refresh my flow, my data is back to the channelize again. So this is what does by this historic data analysis, and this is a significance which I'll definitely write into my YouTube channel about the 4 parts. But this particular button governs or bridge between your API access and the automation of the data. So if you like this video, don't forget to like it, and if you like this channel, don't forget to subscribe it. And thank you very much for the patience. I wish you a happy Easter and see you next time.